Okay, so then you have Queensland being the Texas of Australia and Victoria's the California.
Yep.
What happens when that happens on a global scale? All right, so you're pushing out, it's already happening in the UK. They've pushed out all of their millionaires and billionaires.
Well, not all, by
Not
no
all,
means
but,
all,
you
but
know,
there is an enormous capital flight happening at the moment.
Yes, and people are going
and
to...
the same is already happening in Australia.
And
I
that's what-
personally know a lot of these people.
So that's my point. So, okay, so a lot of the wealth leaves the country because it's inhospitable.
But also, not just the wealth, the brains that know how to create wealth.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
You know, keep in mind the discussion we just had. Wealth is not finite. It's not a fixed pie. There are people that understand how to invent it out of thin air. That's what businesses and entrepreneurs do. Those people are leaving, taking their brains and their wealth with
Yes.
them.
And so that's my point. Are we going to see, rather than it just be a state thing, countries become the Texas of the world and the California of the world?
That
so,
is it. Yeah, 100%.
you know, like that's what so, okay, like I'm already thinking about this. Me and G have been talking about this extensively. Like, right, yeah, we're going to move to Queensland, but then what?
Yeah.
Like, what's the end goal? Where are we going?
So my intention is to get a Red Ensign passport. So there's a series of Caribbean islands.
St. Neves and
Kitts and Nevis. Goodness me, they've all just run out of my brain.
We're both watching the Nova
British
Capitals.
Virgin Islands, all these guys. Relatively easy to get passports from them, depending on how much money you have. You can get them for very little money if you're willing to go and live in there. You know, so Dominica, I think last time I checked, and these things change all the time, so don't take my word for it, but if you were willing to go and live in Dominica for 2 years, so not to the Dominican Republic, which is part of the large island with Haiti, it's a separate island further south. You go and live there for 2 years, you get citizenship and a passport, right? Now, do we all want to go and live there for 2 years? No, not necessarily, but in a world with Starlink...
I think that's the long and the short of it. Like I said this to Jay. I don't have an answer to this, by the way, but you know, I work my butt off and I feel like I'm barely scraping by.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily making bad money either. And I'm like, I just have less for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I had this same attitude in a country that wants me to succeed, I will be able to accumulate wealth. Now, I do want wealth. I don't think I should feel guilty for saying that. I want to be rich.
Yep.
I want to be successful. I want to be able to not be beholden to new legislation that's constantly trying to push me back down. And I'd like to get to a point where I'm able to make decisions for myself and don't have to worry about what the repercussions are.
And let's talk about that I want to be rich thing. In order for the world to become richer, we on average need to create more than we consume. We've talked about this many times before. So I want to be rich. By that I mean, what I don't mean is I want to take wealth from everybody else in return for nothing.
Yeah.
What I mean is I want to organize my life in such a way that I create so much surplus that whatever I consume is such a small fraction of what I'm able to create.
Yeah.
And then I position and arrange my life in a way where I get to keep some of that difference.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm talking about. When I say I want to be rich, I want to generate a tremendous amount of value with how I live and what I do, and then be able to harness and harvest some of that value for myself and for my kids and for my family.
I'm the same. Like, and I always say, you know, you can't pour from an empty cup. People are like, oh, we should be doing more for poor people. Well, you know what? The middle class can't do much when you keep squeezing them. You know, you can't have middle class supporting philanthropy if they can't even pay their bloody gas bills.
They love poor people so much that they're making more of them.
Well, and that's exactly my point. Like, you know, people always shit on Adrian Portelli. I talk about him all the time. Like, at least he's doing something.
Yeah.
He could not be.
Yeah.
No,
Correct,
he's only
correct.
doing it because he gets clout. Well, okay. Doesn't matter what his incentive is. He's doing it.
Yeah.
You know who can't do that? Me.
Yeah, correct.
I can't go and put like a $200,000 tab at Coles. I don't have it.
Yeah.
He does great.
Yep. And if he's willing to do it, then whatever his motives are, those people are still helped.
But that's my point with the Australian attitude. Oh yeah, he's giving away money, but like he's only doing it because he gets social media clicks.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, well he won't do it then.
Yeah.
Cool. So everyone suffers because you don't like the way he's doing it.
That's right.
Cool.
Yeah. You don't want him to. You've decided that he's evil, and so anything that he does that might imply that he's not evil, you have to assume that he's doing for evil reasons.
Oh, he's a billionaire, so he's just a piece of shit.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry.
No, so genuinely, the more time passes, the more alarmed I am about the direction that Australia is going in. South Australia, I just did an interview with Sarah Game, MLC from South Australia, released that a couple of days ago on my YouTube channel. They've just passed some laws that actually make the Victorian permanent pandemic powers look pretty mild in comparison. We're watching this trend happening around Australia, and people are cheering it on.
Yeah.
That's the actual That's the actual problem. And the
Yeah.
people that are getting up in arms, and we didn't end up talking about the march coming up this weekend. The people that are getting up in arms are getting up in arms about the wrong thing. They're getting up in arms about one of the things that is making the situation worse, but not actually the cause. The cause is government policy.
Yeah.
They're getting angry about immigration, which, yes, increasing the population has exacerbated things like the housing shortage. That's a fact. That's true. But ending immigration is not going to save this country.
Well, I will say something on the immigration thing. There was a statistic that came out yesterday that in 5 years, we've let in more Indian migrants than Greek and Italians over 100 years.
Sure.
Right? And I understand their sentiment because the immigrants that come over tend to live in their own enclaves like they did when they were Greek and Italian and they lived in certain parts.
The same thing was true then.
And you're definitely seeing that with the Indian migrants who are coming here.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to try and say this delicately. India is a very big country and it has a PR problem. There are very intelligent, very, very rich Indians. And there are Indian families who have very nice conservative Western values. There's also the very poor parts of India. And that's the part that gets the most of the PR. So people conflate the two. I know Indian people who are absolutely lovely. My landlord happens to be Indian as well. And I dare say my new landlord will probably be Indian. Using that as a blanket statement to say that these people aren't going to come here and add culture or they're diluting our culture. Have you guys ever been to Maui?
Yeah.
Have you been to Bundaberg? Have you been out?
They've got a good drink.
Bundaberg rum is disgusting.
No. Bundaberg ginger beer.
Oh,
Don't insult me like that. Gosh,
say
Carly,
Bundy is disgusting.
Have you met me?
yeah.
Bundy rum, far out.
But this is the thing, right? Like, and I'm not betraying my race saying this or betraying my country saying this. When the white nationalists are like, we need to protect Australian culture, I'm like, which part? Because I grew up in Sunbury.
Sure.
And in Sunbury, there was both. There was the rich Sunbury people and there was the very not rich Sunbury people. And I can tell you now, there was parts of Sunbury that were like, you didn't want to go there.
Yeah.
That's the same with India. So assuming that India is bringing their culture here. Now, everyone always points to certain stories like the Uber driver that peed in the elevator.
Yeah.
And apparently that's representative of all the Indian migrants coming here.
Yeah.
Well, no.
No, it's not. Of course not.
But of course, this is the same thing I say about the Sudanese crime gangs.
Yeah.
Not all Sudanese are youth crime offenders, but a majority of
But
them
this
are.
is why we have to deal harshly and properly with the ones that are.
Yes.
Is actually, if we actually care about Sudanese migrants, then you should be championing proper accountability for the small number of them that do commit serious crimes. On the numbers thing, so this annoys me, how to lie with statistics. The large influx of Italian and Greek immigrants was post-World War II. It was 1940s, 1950s, and into the 1960s. Australia's population was a fraction of what it is now overall. And so, yes, as a percentage, I don't actually know how the numbers would compare, but of course we're bringing in more Indians now than what we brought in Greeks then, because we're importing them from a country that has a far larger population into a country that has a far larger population. What matters is the percentage. What is the percentage that we're bringing in? And the fact is Australia's population is growing by an unremarkable number of people every year. Now, a larger than historically true proportion of our growth is immigrants. That's true because our natural birth rate has dropped. But our infrastructure is not under pressure because migration. That's not the case. Our actual population growth is average for all of the post-war decades. And the percentage of the population that is Indian or whatever else is unremarkable compared to previous influxes like the post-war influx of Greeks and Italians, etc. And people say, oh, well, it's different this time. Those people don't have our culture. Well, they said the same thing about Vietnamese following the Second World War, okay? And yet, the old Vietnamese still don't speak very good English, but their kids and their grandkids are as Aussie as you and I, right? The Greeks, we now accept that the Greeks assimilated perfectly well. We accepted the Italians assimilated perfectly well. They were screaming, Aussies were screaming from the rooftops, we can smell the garlic on the ships before they've even reached the shore. These people don't belong here. They're not like Irish and English and German and
But
all
they
the other
bought
groups.
really yummy food.
Okay? And so these arguments are exactly the same arguments. And when I hear these people saying, oh, well, the Greeks and Italians were different, not according to the people at the time.
Yeah, and it's all relative. And the other thing is as well, like it's such a dumb argument. Oh, they're, you know, culture or they look different or whatever. You know, that is definitely an element of racism. But what I'm more interested in is who are they and what caliber of people are they?
100%.
That's what 100%. I care about.
And let's actually deal with the troublemakers that come in.
And this is the thing. Like I talked about Dubai last week with Supercar Blondie. Like Dubai has an incentive for ambitious people who are entrepreneurs, who are smart to come over. Great. Send me to that country. I would rather live in a country full of people who are ambitious, who champion success, who want to cultivate wealth than I would in a country that cares about making sure that everyone looks like them.
Yep.
You've just watched another short clip from the Oddcast. And if you'd like to see the full video, it is over at our dedicated channel. That is the Oddcast HQ on YouTube. We will see you there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and have a chat in the comments.